Hey guys, today we're going to talk about our creative mojo. You guys know I talk about this all the time. We need to feel and have this creativity in us that makes it so that when we sit down to our computer to design, we actually output something. So often we get a little stuck, and then we come to our computer and there's a blank screen and then we're frustrated because we don't have anything to put on it, okay? So this is to get your juices going, and this depends on who you are, because my very first one here is if you are someone who is unstructured, I want you to do a structured day, just one day, okay? That's the first tip for getting your mojo back, is to do the opposite of what you normally do. If you're someone who is very structured, I want you to have a totally unstructured day. I want you to do one day where everything isn't planned out. Okay, you know who you are. So for me, I'm a super structured person. I like to plan everything out. I am like that crazy person. So I do use Megan Summerall. You guys have heard me talk about Megan Summerall's time management system, which, by the way, we have a time management for creatives class. If you want to go check that out on Megan Summerall's site, I think it's megansummerall.com/creatives, creative or creatives. I'm not sure which one. I probably should have checked that. Anyway, so I'm really planned out. And then not only do I use that system, but I usually hand write out my list every day so that I can ingrain it in my head so I can make sure I remember all the things I'm supposed to do. So I'm a little bit crazy that way. So if I'm in a creative slump, I will take a day and unstructure everything. Now, granted, it's a day where I don't have meetings and all that other stuff. So it'd be like a Saturday. And I would just take everything off of my list and have a completely unstructured day and live very much in the moment. Now, if you are the opposite of that, if you're someone who really lives in an unstructured world and you're struggling with creativity, then you might be someone who needs to turn it around, sit down, give yourself times of doing things during the day. That's part of the reason I do this, because I have to give myself deadlines for things throughout the day. I like mini deadlines because they get me going, and say, like, at 7 o'clock, I'm going to have breakfast. At 8 o'clock, I am going to sit down and draw X, Y, and Z. At 9 o'clock, I'm going to scan it in. At 10 o'clock, you get what I mean. Maybe it doesn't take you a whole hour to scan something in, but you get what I am trying to tell you to do, okay? So to help your creative juices, you need to do the opposite of what you tend to want to do in your everyday, and see if it kind of gets you going and doing the thing you need to be doing, okay? Sometimes, especially I'm thinking about those of us who are planned and structured. Those of you who are unstructured, it might be really hard for you to get into that structured mode, so maybe only do a couple of hours of structured. But those of us who are structured, I'm structured. Those of us that are structured, to have an unstructured day, I will get glimpses into things that will suddenly make me feel like, oh my gosh, I should do that. Like, it gets me super excited, and I start thinking about creative things I can do with that thing. And then it's really helpful for my creative mojo, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to make that thing. And I write it down. Next time I sit down in front of my computer, you know what happens? I make it. The blank screen does not last very long. And that's what I'm trying to help you get out of. All right, hopefully that helps you. It's kind of a hard one, because sometimes we're hardwired a certain way and we just want to do things the way we like to do them, okay? Number 2 is, and I just wrote about this actually in our handbook, rest. And we can be talking about sleep and we can be talking about rest. Those are two really different things, but I'm going to talk about them together right now. I think I don't remember whose episode I was talking on another podcast about being someone who treats themselves like a super athlete, okay? And one thing I think that we don't do as designers or creatives enough is treat ourselves like we are the super athlete of our lives. Or if you were Donald Miller, you would say you were the hero, right? The hero in your own life. Because you're not treating yourself like the hero, you do things like not drink enough water, or get enough sleep at night, or take moments of rest, right? So what I want to emphasize to you is that sleep is important. And you should be getting, I'm not a sleep expert, but it seems like 8 hours a night. I know I don't do very well if I'm not getting 8, sometimes 9 hours a night. Someone once asked me, Carina, I swear you never sleep. And I was like, actually, I am the opposite. I sleep more than the regular person because I need to keep my energy up and my vibration up. And I have so much work to do and I'm doing creative work all the time. At the time of recording this, I'm busy designing all the things in my handbook and I need to get it to press, and there are lots of technical things involved, but there's also all this creativity involved. I'm thinking about what we could add to it, how we make it prettier, how do we do things in black and white, oh my heavens, and make it cool. So I'm really trying to really work through that. And if I wasn't sleeping a certain amount of hours at night, I couldn't bring all that energy to my projects. And I want to bring that energy to my design projects because then it feels fulfilling and it's exciting and it's great work. Okay. All right. Number 3 is very simple. I need you to walk away. If you've been sitting there staring at your screen and nothing is really being made, you're just kind of struggling, I need you to walk away from your computer for a little while. You might need to walk away from it for the entire day. And I think you need to be okay with that. Walk away and maybe even walk yourself right outside so that you can get some nature. Every time I walk outside, and sometimes I will literally stand out there in the sun for a second, I am just giving myself some vitamin D. I am just soaking in and taking deep breaths, and it just helps me center. And it will be literally 2 or 3 minutes. I will just walk outside my office. Really close is my back door to my house. I will walk outside, stand in the sun because I've got kind of a porch area, so I have to walk a little ways out to the concrete, and I will just stand there for a couple minutes, take some deep breaths, and just soak in some sun. Sometimes that is all we need. Now, if you need longer than a few minutes, then take them. Take them. Your creative mojo is important, and you need to think of it as this secondary person in you that really needs love and support, and you're going to give it to them, okay? So sitting in front of your computer with a blank screen is not going to get you where you want to go. It's going to make you feel frustrated. Maybe you start drawing something, it just feels wrong. I will start a new document, or I will walk away from it for a moment because nothing good comes out of that negative feeling, and it hurts my creativity. So I really want to emphasize to you that you have the ability to change your structure during the day. You have the ability to get yourself more sleep and rest and treat yourself really good. And you have the ability to go get some sunshine, okay? These are things you can control and will help it so that your creative mojo will come back, okay? I'm not telling you to do crazy exercise, fun little crazy artistic exercises or any of that, because most of the time, most of our problems can be solved by doing very simple things. And people don't like to hear it. Sometimes they almost would rather me tell them, I want you to do something very complex. I want you to get into your car and drive over to the river and swim 20 laps and then walk into a museum and document 20 paintings and all this stuff, okay? Sometimes we don't need to do all this stuff. Sometimes we just need to take a second and breathe, you guys. Just some deep breaths. In fact, I'm hoping you're hearing this podcast episode, and right now, as I'm talking, you are taking 3 or 4 monstrous, big old breaths and getting all that oxygen into your body, because the oxygen will help your creative mojo. All right, guys. I love what you're doing. I love that you are designing and putting out your creative selves into this world that just needs you, okay? So keep doing it. Keep being awesome. Hopefully that creative mojo is coming back, and whenever you're in an issue, where you're just I'm stuck, you come back to this episode and you just remind yourself it only takes a few simple things, a few simple steps to get that creative mojo back. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.